There.
Okay. Yes. Here we go. We are joined by, well, not only, of course, my
Bill, you're muted somehow. Now we have more technical difficulties. We've had issues all day. I feel sorry for who's editing this week's episode. We've had issues, and now Bill can't get unmuted.
Hold on.
There we go.
Any
Hear
second
you.
now.
I can hear you.
Hey! And there's
Oh god! Now I can hear the intro coming back in.
This is normally a very awesome experience where you get to see. Yes, there you go. Yes.
There we go.
Yes, this has been truly a different experience. And it's happening.
I am sorry for the backroom editors.
You know what? It's
what is it doing?
So,
anyway,
fans of blooper.
This is what happens when everything was being delayed. We hit that button 18 times. Now it's like catch up.
Yes, right. And
oh yeah.
Like, okay. Here we go.
There's nothing we can do. We might have to punt this and try again.
So.
Are we live?
No, we're recording. We record.
Yes. So,
that's why I keep joking about the editing, because who's going to edit this episode is going to.
Yes, I promise there'll be editing. There will be editing.
All right, no more intro music.
As I was saying, we have a very, very jam-packed, fun show. Even more fun than that was. And we are joined by the one, the only Chris the Hater Disney, who will be helping us to break down what would have been a Pac-12 versus Big 10 game, which is now a Big 10 game. Because they're all the same conference. Right. That doesn't seem unnatural at all, I guess. And it would have been a Rose Bowl preview even in some other years, perhaps. We're going to be joined later by Nolen J Lake, who's going to walk us through the Red Rivalry, which is a little less maybe sexy than it would have been just a few weeks ago with Texas having its stumble.
And no,
but either way,
Oklahoma had no injury.
Because it's a rivalry game, because it is the most important game of the year for both teams. Oakland has injured once this year, and if they're going to do it, I think it might be this particular Saturday. And we'll walk through a bunch of other really interesting games. So since we have a special guest, Mr. Chris Disney, is there a particular game you would like to focus on, sir?
Yeah, let's talk about that Michigan USC.
Or not. While he thinks about it, and I guess we reconnect everything. Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good, Chris.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Now we can. You're back.
Michigan. Hello.
You're good. Go ahead, Chris.
Excellent. Okay. Well, tell us why that game and what are some of
the why is that game important to me?
About that particular game?
USC is my team for one, and number two, Michigan's not that. I didn't think Michigan was this good. I don't know about you guys, but Michigan kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Michigan was overranked. It definitely was not being a top 25 team at the end of the season last year, and then they had them 15th or 12th at the beginning of the season. And all
were you excited perhaps to see what? Yes, Mr. Derichi's Underwood. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how he's been good. He's not phenomenal, but he's done enough. And then look at the other side with
I would agree.
USC, and I would talk about the run game and just fantastic. They have the best run game that I've seen since. Well, I don't want to say Legend Bush, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if Justice Hayes. I don't know if Hayes is that good, but Hayes has been.
No, it's not. I'm not saying he's good. I'm saying that it's effective.
Yeah.
Like when you think about the offense that they run, you're thinking about them throwing the ball down the field, but they don't really do that. They run the ball down the road.
No, they definitely do. I think the one thing big about this game, and I really wasn't expecting anything out of this transfer for Michigan from Indiana.
And both teams obviously still have something to prove. USC was looking really good, and then they stubbed their toe this year, but they looked good.
It's hard to beat Illinois.
My biggest question is about both. Yep.
And the West Coast team.
My biggest
and you have to play a game at 11
both teams has to do with their secondaries.
Yeah. Yes. I do really like the safety, USC safety.
Yes.
Ramsey.
Correct. And your body clock is telling you it's not. Yes, correct, or whatever, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
I was saying, I think to me, for each team, the biggest question is the defensive secondary. And I wonder if this game is going to be turned by some big plays deep down the field. Both the young quarterbacks, Jaden Miava and Mr. Underwood, have strong arms. They both have the ability to stretch, take shots 30, 40, 50, 60 even yards down the field. Though, as you said, both teams prefer not to or don't do it that much.
Yeah, I was waiting for that to happen. His internet, he was just coming and going so often. I just kept sitting waiting for him to get dropped because he was such lagging there for a second.
So what Nolan saying is not wrong. Like, but Tony Lane was the USC analyst at the Trojans, yeah. They're going to stretch the field. Like, they're going to take shots down the field because they set up the run game so much. What really they like to do is they like to run the ball and then they like to throw little screen plays or like a reverse here and there, and then they kind of bring the defense in, and then as the defense comes in, they're going to take that shot down the field with the air raid.
Yeah, I don't think an elite defensive coordinator like Wink Markendale is going to fall for stuff like that.
Well, he's going to wrap up coordinator.
He is. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna blitz a lot. I don't know what USC's offensive line looks like. I know it's been.
It's really not It's not the best. They're more for running the ball, which is why they run the ball so much. But the pass blocking is okay. Going Mayaba is he's good, but no runner. He can scramble.
Yeah, he can.
But he doesn't really do well, I think, reading the defenses, reading blitzes. So that definitely be an issue. He had an issue in Illinois.
He did. But he did. Yeah. I think the big thing out of this game is going to be who stops the run first. Because both of these teams have run attacks. Are you going to be able to stop? Is USC going to be able to stop Hayes for Michigan? Is Michigan? I don't know. I forget the running backs out of USC.
Hold on one second.
I know Bill would be sitting here splitting it out really quickly, but yeah, those two. I mean, but I think the big thing too is the big physical wide receiver from Michigan, the transfer from Indiana, McCauley. I think that's how you say his name correctly. McCauley from he's had an amazing season so far for Michigan. Donovan McCauley from Indiana. He transferred to Michigan. He's a 6'5", 215-pound wide receiver. He's very strong, very aggressive. He has 300 yards and a touchdown.
Lyman Jordan, that's his name. Yeah. That's the running back.
Yeah.
He's good. You know what? They have like one talented back.
And Michigan has a three-headed monster themselves with Hayes.
They always do.
Well, their third attack this time, though, is Underwood, the quarterback, which is usually not the case. They have Marshall, who's more of the speed back. Hayes has amazing speed too. Don't get me wrong for Michigan, but Marshall is more of that scat back that has a little bit more get up and go than Hayes does. Even though Hayes has 5 touchdowns.
You know what? Think about it. You can kind of built the same way of the Trojans like to do that as well. They like to get Mayaba on the run and get the
USC has better wide receivers overall, though.
Oh, they do. And they have an underrated tight end who I don't think has been used enough in McCoy.
Yeah, because you guys have a wide receiver. What's his name? Because he's going round 1. What's his name?
Lane?
What was that?
Lane?
No, not Lane. It looks like Bill's back in. He's having some more issues. It says his device is not connected right now. No, come on.
Lemon?
Yeah, Lemon. There it is. That guy's going round 1. I mean, Lane could go, but Lemon for sure is probably.
No.
Yeah, but Lemon is wide receiver 1 right now. Yeah. I don't think there's another wide receiver right now in the country that would compete against Lemon for wide receiver 1.
I mean, there is Jordan Tyson up there.
I'm talking about in the upcoming season in draft. I'm talking about right now in 2026 NFL draft. Lemon is wide receiver 1 right now.
Yeah.
Lemon, for everyone who doesn't know, Lemon has 35 receptions, 589 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
Only 35 receptions. Think about that.
He's averaging 16.8 yards a reception. So,
well, don't even take a deep shot. Don't take a deep shot early.
You have to. You're going to have to attack the defense and try to get an early lead quick because, if Michigan gets the ball, even though they have a strong running attack, explosive running attack, they're going to want to control the ball and eat the clock with their running attack. But Michigan it's weird to say with Michigan that they're one play away on the run attack, not their passing attack. They can score with one running attack.
What we don't want to happen is we don't want to play Michigan game. We don't want to play line the clock, run the ball, eat the yards. We don't want to play that game. We want to run the score up and get the game over with by halftime.
Why don't you want to play that? I feel like that happened last week when we played Illinois' game. Because when you played Illinois' game.
I did not know well with football last time.
You won't.
There's something. I don't
You're
know
right.
why.
It didn't.
I don't know why.
Michigan and Illinois
I mean,
are traditional Big Ten teams, and that they still want to lean on you all day long if they can. They go out and get 320-pound dudes, a bunch of them, for just such that purpose, just literally to lean on you for, hopefully sometime between 55 and 65 plays, if they can manage it. And they know that late in the game, you're likely to wear out.
Brett Bielema was building up the early 2000s.
This is to wear you out just by leaning on you for, in their mind, 60.
Yeah. Did we lose you again, Bill?
Yeah, that's the thing. Bielema is off of that Wisconsin, Barry Alvarez tree through the lines, offensive and defensive lines, and beating the other team up physically. And you're right. While I wouldn't call USC soft, they definitely do not want to get into a gut-punching match with a traditional Big Ten school, because that would not.
Luckily, what time is this game? This is a 4:00 game, correct?
Yeah, I think.
At least it's not a late night game, but you want this to be an early game, like a 12 o'clock game, because they're not used to being. That's super early for them. It's what who I don't know when it affects one team or the other.
It's 6:30 Central Time.
Yeah, it's an early game.
Time.
So that's a noon o'clock game.
No, it's quite the opposite.
Yeah, so this game really doesn't affect a team. It's more earlier in the day for them. I don't know when it really affects. It's probably more effective when USC goes to the Eastern more than Central. When you're going across country.
But what happened in Illinois? What
okay,
happened?
So yeah, that's.
Yeah,
so that negates. Yeah. Right.
Bill, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I think we're going to see. We're going to see, first of all, who can get people to the ground consistently, right? Think of how many big plays aren't big plays if the first person who gets there brings them down, right? If it takes the third or fourth player who. Oh, okay. Moment. Okay. Well, that's that.
I don't want to see my face that big. That's bad. Yeah, you've been super delayed there, Bill.
Okay. We'll find out if that helped or not soon.
No, yeah. I'm trying to disconnect everything on my end to try to see if it's partially me, but I don't know if it is.
Hopefully that helped. Yep, that. I will do my best to anticipate we're open. But I was saying, speaking of throwing people open, I think that tackling and the ability to cover deep down the field without committing pass interference, I think might be a couple of the factors that are heavily involved in the outcome. this game.
Nolen's here. I don't know if you see that, Bill.
I didn't lost Bill again.
I still see him, but I see him talking, but nothing's like no word. I don't see like no words coming. Like I don't hear anything.
Ah.
How about now?
Joined by our Red River Rivalry expert, Mr. Nolen.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Very good. Very good.
We're having some technical difficulties there,
Good
so
evening.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill, we've had a lot of delays and like connection lagging issues.
Ironically,
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can fix that. Carry on. Give me a moment. Let's see
Okay.
if I can figure that out.
Yeah, so we can go ahead. I mean, while Bill tries to figure out what's going on over on Bill's side, we'll go ahead and introduce Nolen. Nolen, hi, I'm Matt Brunelli. First time meeting you and having you on the podcast. Thank you for joining us. I know you know Bill very well.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and talk about the big matchup, big rivalry this weekend. We got the Red River rivalry for Oklahoma and Texas. Go ahead and give us your little bit of a breakdown on this game coming up.
Well, the biggest news coming out today was it's possible that John Mateer may be at the football game. The reporting has been just insanely horrible this week. It's all the speculation, all the, what ifs. I personally think he is going to play, but that's just, I have no reason to think that. I have no information. I just feel like that's just going to happen. He played 3 quarters against Auburn with that thumb in that situation. I'm fairly sure he's going to play.
I honestly did not know that John Mateer was back. I didn't know.
Well,
I thought he had thumb surgery.
Yes, yeah, he had thumb surgery. The official death chart or death report, injury report came out yesterday. Says he's questionable. So again, this week OU has held every practice indoors, so no one can see what's going on. I mean, they're purposely hiding information about what's going to go on, whether it's going to be Michael Hawkins or John Mateer. Honestly, either one of those guys, I'm not going to be surprised if he does play. I won't be surprised if he doesn't play. But I will say that to me is the difference between winning and losing, which is tough to say, but it's what I believe.
I mean, I think with this week and this team, I mean, this is the perfect team for both. I mean, I know it's the rivalry and you always play each other tough. It's Texas, but I mean, Texas is not good this year. Archie Manning is not the quarterback everybody thought Archie was. Everybody's been sitting in him, waiting for him to show something. Hasn't shown it besides, group of 5 bottom feeders. And then when he plays any competition in the Power 4, he doesn't play them well. So, and then the rest of like the Texas, what we thought Texas would be strong in was their defense with their linebackers, and they're getting chewed alive on the run and everything else. So, I mean, this is I don't think you need to rush Mateer back to beat this Texas team.
Especially in the college playoff. I mean, if that's the ultimate goal of your football team is to make the college, the playoff, and in today's college football climate, you can lose a game.
Yeah.
And still it not impact you as badly. So, I hope they're not rushing him back for it. I would hope that's, long-term goal, long-term plan would be that, if he's ready to go, fine, but not to press the issue. It's interesting that how much these teams, one team is undefeated, another team's got a couple losses, but how much they mirror each other as far as real strengths and weaknesses go. Both teams' offensive line is porous. Tackle plays not good. A lot of people are talking about how much improved the Oklahoma offense is. They were at the bottom. I mean, they last year they were near the bottom in every statistical category, and so where else are you going to go but up?
Yeah.
And so, right, they ranked from 60th in total offense. They're in the 61st, 65th category in every offensive category, which is probably about a 50 spot improvement from last year. But still, it's not a Lincoln Riley offense. It's not. It's just not that anymore.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And is that an offense that wins a championship? Is that an offense that can win a playoff, like being in the 60s?
I don't think so, because it's. I mean, like, you look at the rushing game, where, I mean, we're further down. We're averaging about 115 a game, and most of that coming from the quarterback position. Like, we've not had a real. It's hard to get to the college football playoff, and hard to win a game without the running game from a running back established. And so far, every game, with the exception of the cellar dwellers, has been quarterback run game. I mean, against Auburn, I think Oklahoma had 52 yards of rushing, and it was all from a tier. And so so far it's been enough to get by, but I don't know that in the meat of the schedule coming up that you can have your quarterback leading the team in rushing every week and win in the end.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think, definitely in the SEC. It's
Yeah.
weird to talk about OU in Texas in the SEC, obviously, but you're not winning the SEC. You're not going to win multiple playoff games with a rush and attack when your leading rusher is your quarterback.
Right, and it's not even. It's so bad. That, I mean, when we break 100 yards, or no, Oklahoma breaks 100 yards, it's like, that's a little bit of improvement. And I really was hoping against Kent State. I knew we were playing Kent State, but there were some things I wanted to see against Kent State. And Oklahoma won 44-0, and still in the end, I felt like offensively, I'm like, there's some problems.
Yeah,
there's some problems there.
When you're talking about Kent State, you're probably wanting to see the 60s.
Right, y'all wanted to see a couple hundred yards rushing.
Yep.
Especially with Hawkins playing, is like, look, Oklahoma's not going to throw the ball a lot. We're going to pound the ground, and it didn't feel good that it didn't look as dominant as I would like, and it also didn't look good that Kent State had 5 sacks against Oklahoma.
Oof, yeah,
I
mean, oof,
yeah. That was a statistic I left with, going, what in the world is going on?
Yeah, I talked about the Texas defense not portraying playing up to what the standards was, what people expected them this year. But with the big rivalry like this, they're going to play tougher. And if your offensive line gave up 5 sacks to Kent State, and it could have been sleeping on them because it's Kent State, and they were looking forward to this week. So
right.
Maybe there was like, whatever, we can just push aside this team and really focus on Texas. So, but still, even when you're sleeping on Kent State, you shouldn't give 5 sacks up to Kent State.
No. And even like from the beginning, like the first touchdown Oklahoma scored, Hawkins had like 4 guys on top of him as he just threw the ball up as a prayer. I'm like, that's just not a good look against. I mean, I was telling the folks that I knew that, look, Kent State is in a historically bad place right now. Not bad, historically bad.
Yeah.
And so there should be nothing. There should be no part of this game that we're not absolutely dominating. And the scores 44-0, but I'm watching it and I'm just, man, there should be a clearer defining line than what I'm seeing right now. And even in the running game, I want to say Oklahoma ran for about $150.
Yeah.
That's just. I think Florida State ran for close for 500.
I mean, Texas Tech did that in a quarter.
Right. And so, and I really think that's what makes this rivalry this weekend. This game is going to be so different because, I feel like, honestly, even though one team's record is much better than the other, kind of feel like they're both in the same place.
Yeah.
You know, no real running game with the running back. Your quarterback's leading the team in rushing. Not really. You can't say great or bad wide receiver play. You could say really just non-existent. You know, there's no golden on the Texas roster. You know,
I mean, the Texas is that. I mean, that's the one buy I give Archie. Archie does not have the quarterback or the weapons that Quinn Ewers had his 2 years. You know, you had Gunnar Helm, you had Golden, you had I'm forgetting all the other guys, Isaiah Bond, you had
Isaiah Bond, yeah.
And you know, and there's other receivers from other drafts. You know, you had Jordan Whittingham. You know, you had a lot of wide receivers who are in the NFL right now who went day 1, day 2, and day 3. Archie has none of that.
Right, and the offensive line play, again, you know,
Texas lost everybody in the O line.
Yeah, and so you look at, you know, their right tackle or left tackle versus our Mason Thomas for Oklahoma, like that's going to be a tough matchup for them. Our defensive tackles, the David Stone, Jaden Jackson, I mean, they're machines. The defensive line in Oklahoma is as advertised, and which is great news. In the secondary, even against Kent State, I saw a lot of wide receivers running free, which is concerning. Obviously, they didn't have anybody to throw it to the receiver. So, but you know, just kind of when I go to the game, I like to sit. I get tickets in the bottom, then I have tickets in the upper deck, so I can kind of see perspectives and see how things look. And when you get to the upper deck and you look down upon it, and you're just seeing guys just running open, you know, the quarterback's running for his life, so he's not going to be able to do anything. But yeah, it's there's some concerns the back end, but if the defensive line continues to play like they do, I think that they will create enough of a pass rush to kind of corral that Texas offense.
So where do you see this game right now? Where would you predict for this game?
You know, and my son and I were just having dinner talking about this, about what we think. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game. I think it's going to be a sloppy game, maybe even through the first 2 quarters. Um, I would think, just as of right now, you know, I would say Oklahoma wins, you know, in that 24-17, 24-20 range. That's with Mateer. Without Mateer, I mean, I see that kind of swing the other direction.
So you think of like a 14-17 for Oklahoma with Hawkins and 24 with Mateer.
Yeah.
Mateer's the difference maker for the W this week.
Yeah. You know, just, you know, what he brings to the table as a quarterback and as a leader, even amongst the stats, his statistics, you'll look at them and you'll go, you know, very okay. But his presence, and I'm not talent wise, I would not compare these two, but he has a Baker Mayfield presence with the football team. And he's one of those guys that, and when my son played quarterback, I always said, create friendships with your offensive line, because as good as they are, if you are their brother, they will protect you more than just if you're just the quarterback. You want those guys to be your brothers.
Yeah.
And Mateer creates that brotherhood amongst the offensive line and himself, that they will do more for him than perhaps they would do for Michael Hawkins.
I was going to let Bill take back over since he's back in the group, the chat. Hopefully everything's working for your side.
Yeah. So, first of all, when your computer says, "Hey, I've got these really important updates," you're like, "Yeah, sure you do." Sometimes your computer is right. So, I know Nolen actually works in IT. I'm sure he would chastise me thoroughly, but taken care of. We're all up to date. We're all completely taken care of now. Everything's updated and shiny and new. So
good.
I want to get back to two things. You mentioned some things about Mateer, and literally, it's funny you should mention. Literally, when I first wrote him up, this is even before he transferred to Oklahoma. My little thumbnail sketch when I'm writing him up pre-transfer, as I called him Gardner Mayfield. So I actually called him in my little sketch report. Oh, look, it's Gardner Mayfield.
Yeah,
Because he literally reminded me of halfway between the two. Not as talented as Baker, not as, his arm isn't quite Baker's arm. He's smart, but he's not quite as football smart as Baker, but he's got some qualities of each of the two guys, right? He's got Minshew's kind of, hey, we're just out here having fun playing football kind of stuff that you sort of see. And then, but he's also got some of that Mayfield, like, super competitor that comes out at times as well. I think it's going to be a fun game, an interesting game. I want to get to the secondary of both teams. And I've flipped from where I thought I was on the two secondaries coming into the year. I thought I was going to have questions about Oklahoma's secondary. I thought I was going to be pretty secure in what I thought about Texas's secondary. Now I'm in the opposite camp, right? What I used to think, I thought Oklahoma's secondary was, I now think Texas's secondary might be, and vice versa. When you look at this game, Nolen, if indeed there are big plays to be had, and there might not be, it sounds from what you're saying, but if there are some deep shots to be taken and maybe connected on, which team is less likely to give up a big play down the field in the passing game?
And we saw this against Auburn until basically the fourth quarter was a lot of our corners, the OU corners, being on a island, and number 8 for Auburn, because we had there's a true freshman out on that corner, Clinton Guillory, who's going to be a phenomenal player. He will be a phenomenal player, but I mean, the receiver for Auburn took him to the woodshed the whole game until Venable started leaving the safeties over the top for help, because he was bringing them in. They were really focused on stopping Jackson Arnold, and I really feel like this is going to be a similar defensive plan from Venables, in that the quarterback is the rushing game for Texas, and Jackson Arnold, when at times, has been for Auburn. And so I feel like the opportunities for big plays from the wide receivers over, the big bombs, I feel like that I feel like the advantage goes to Texas there. I'll be interested to see how much time he gets to throw. Archie Mann gets to throw, because again, we were discussing before, the Texas offensive line, their tackles are a weakness, right side and left side, and so our Mason Thomas versus either one of those guys is advantage Oklahoma. Jaden Jackson, David Stone, the 4 or 5 guys that they're rotating on the defensive line. I feel like Texas is going to have a real problem keeping those guys off of Archie long enough for him to make a play down the field.
And that brings me to my next area of inquiry. So I think there's going to be, that sort of, emerging, breakout, whatever term, a player that isn't a household name on each side of the ball is going to, make their presence known. So I guess, since you are here, particularly to give us Oklahoma's view of this game, who's a player on both sides of the ball that isn't well known yet? Maybe they aren't. Maybe it's a younger player. Maybe it's a player who's playing because someone else is injured. Maybe it's a player who just isn't as well known as maybe they should be. Who you think has an impact on this game, but is not one of those players that is above the fold, as they say?
I think, and I'll put the Isaiah Centena, the transfer from Arkansas, the wide receiver, who scored the illegal touchdown against Auburn, and he's punt return, kick return. He is a dynamic player. His football responsibility, as far as like taking care of the ball, concerns me, but he is a guy that I think is going to weigh heavily into special teams and the passing game at Oklahoma. And I'll also add Torrey Blaylock, the running back from Oklahoma, who's, for whatever reason, Jade Knott can't see the field. And Torrey Blaylock has just taken over the running back spot, and which is a huge shock to everyone who follows Oklahoma football because, I think Jade Knott won SEC like newcomer of the year. Like, the guy was going to come in and start and be a big part of this OU offense. And, basically they let him play against Kent State. And I'm fairly sure he's going to go back to where he was, sitting on the bench. But Torrey Blaylock, big running back, 100-meter state champion, like, you see, and the difference between him and the other running backs is like this real desire to fall forward. You rarely see him hit behind the line of scrimmage. You barely see him taking tackle runs for loss. He is going to be a great running back, but right now with the offensive line we have, he's looked pretty average so far on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm sure he's starting to get some attention. Jaden Jackson, 65 on the defensive line. My gosh, what a monster! Like, if people aren't paying attention to him, they should be. It's hard to say between him and David Stone, but even Jaden Jackson started last year over David Stone, and people were surprised because David Stone was, 5-star freshman coming in. He's going to play right away. He's going to be Tommy Harris again. And then the next thing you know is Jaden Jackson who's starting over him. And last year he was pretty quiet, but Jaden Jackson is going to be a problem for everyone he goes against this year. Like you've got Grayson Hatham, a senior who's been around for a while, but I really think 65 is going to be your difference maker.
Yeah, first of all, that's a great call out because I do think that's a player that's going to. I agree with you. Both those players are going to make an impact on the game, and I'm not calling, anybody O'Marion Hampton or anything like that, but he's got some Hampton-esque qualities, right? I mean, Blaylock's got some thump to him, and yes, once he gets rolling, you're not going to catch it. Like he's not getting caught from behind. You might get an angle, but you got to bring something. Like you're not going to arm tackle him either. Do you think they're going to maybe start also working him into the intermediate and short passing game too?
I've been waiting for that. I've expected more of that up to this point because it's there. It's there, and a lot of times they've been Javonte Barnes has been their the running back that they involve more in the passing game. Also for his pass protect, he's typically in there. But I would like to see more of Blaylock catching something out of the backfield and give an opportunity in open field to run. Like he's most of his stuff right now has been things that we're not good at right now, which is running between the tackles. But even then, like when someone comes to tackle him, you almost see him speed up and run into it to hit them first, which is, I mean, that's special to me. And again, Xavier Robinson last year ran for 140 yards against Alabama. He's not getting on the field. Jaden Knott, who was a great player at Cal, not getting on the field. And so, there's something special about him that those guys aren't getting any action because he has separated himself from them.
Yeah, that says a lot. And I'll be honest, I wrote about Jaden Knott as being, I thought he was one of the most impactful transferred players in the country.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one. And it's funny is Oklahoma is 5-0 now, and after every win, if you go to X, this is what the fan base is talking about. Not that Oklahoma won. The fan base is questioning where's Jaden Knott. Like it's still we're this far into the season. And that's still like it doesn't matter. Like even after the Auburn win, it was like, well, where's Jaden Knott? Against Michigan, where's Jaden Knott? And the coaches every week get asked about him, and they say the same things every week. They give you the coach talk. He's had a great week of practice, blah, blah, blah. And then you don't see him, you know. And so I really feel like at this point, Blaylock has separated himself to a point that those guys are going to be competing with each other for whatever is left over. Yeah, I'm fairly sure, Bill, he was a preseason SEC player of the, like, newcomer of the year or something. Like, Ott won like a preseason award. Like, he was going to come in and man, just, I don't know where he's at.
Well, I mean, I think it, as you said, it says a lot about what they think of Blaylock, right? When you,
Right.
you know, you do what you do NIL wise and compete it, right? You have to compete. It wasn't like Jay Knott didn't have other offers. He was the belle of the ball amongst transfer running backs. He was, you know, at the very top. And as you pointed out, he's a terrific player at Cal. He was the offense in some games, at least at Cal. Mendoza would throw it to him. He would run it. He would block for Mendoza on the plays where he didn't catch the ball or run with the ball. And he was one of the more complete backs I saw last year. So, yes, I will admit that openly that I was way off about the kind of year that Jaden Knott would have. And I'm sure Jaden Knott also is very surprised by the way this year has turned out after, you know, like I said, all the suitors, you know, beating back Syracuse and beating back all these other schools that were, you know, very excited about trying to bring Jaden Knott to their school, and Oklahoma wins. And now, you know, is he second or third on the depth chart?
I would say he is fourth. He did get some work. He did get some work against Kent State, but I feel like that was on purpose to try and get him in the flow of the game. He didn't even look that great against them. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't fit the scheme as well. Maybe it's one of those issues.
Or maybe, I mean, it feels like he feels like they didn't really, like, they wanted him until they had him, is what I think. You know what I mean? Like, he seems to, I shouldn't try to psychoanalyze, but I've seen his body language prior to, you know, I've seen his body language now. I mean, when you lose a position battle that the world thought you were going to win, I assume that that stings your pride. I'm just gonna guess.
And you're not even the backup. Like, you're not even not even the backup. Right. I mean, you've got Javonte Barnes, you have Torrey Blaylock, you have Xavier Robinson, and then you have Jaden Knott. That's the lineup.
Wow.
And by the way, Bill,
just wow.
The thing that, like, I've had to defend, the person I've had to defend in all this is Jim Nagy. Jim Nagy went out on a limb for Jaden Knott, and you know, you and I know, we know who he is. We know of his reputation. We know of what he has done in the past. But average Joe Blow, you know, Oklahoma football fan was like, who's this Nagy guy? And I'm telling them, like, you don't know how good we have it having him in that general manager role. Like, you don't know how special this is and how much of a difference it makes for the whole program that we have Jim Nagy. And then the poster child of his, you know, real first transfer class can't see the field. And it's like, listen, the last thing I will do is say anything blasphemous about Jim Nagy. But like this, it to the average OU fan, they're still trying to figure out if they want Nagy to stay around or not.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Oh, all right then. Now in the NFL, you know, you would just swing a deal, right? You would find out a RB needy team, and then maybe, you know, flip him for a right guard or something. But
right.
You can't quite do that yet in college football. You can't quite pull off trades.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
I'm telling you, Bill, it's amazing how much the whole Oklahoma program is set up like an NFL front office now.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's going to be the Oklahoma front office is going to be the poster child to. And I know other college programs have a general manager, but I'm telling you, the way that it is set up exactly like you would see an NFL administration
They have
from
a
Nagy on
board.
down.
Yep. They have
Hmm.
a board that's just high school kids. They have a board that is, I'll just call it a speculation board of current college players on other teams. They
Yep.
have not been in contact. I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything they're not supposed to do, but they're aware of
Right.
players. I'll put it that
Right.
way. They're aware of players who have
Yeah.
eligibility.
Yeah.
Right. And then they have a blended where it's a combination. They sort of stack them all and sort of figure out who we want. And you're right. It's like pro player personnel and college scouting, right?
Yep.
And they have meetings, regular meetings. They talk about where they are on the board and who's moving in what direction, and it's both better and worse, right? I mean, it's in that it tears the the pretense, right? For years we dealt with the pretense of, oh yes, we're doing it for the love of the game and blah blah blah. And yeah, people have been getting bags of cash since the 50s. You know it, I know it, we know it, right? That's not
Yeah.
news. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not news to anybody. I mean, especially in states like Texas, Oklahoma, yes, Arkansas. In fact, back when bags of cash weren't legal, Arkansas was good, right? Really, really
Right.
good. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's why. I'm just pointing out,
Right. Right. Right.
But now, like, you can see the man behind the curtain, right?
Right.
And now you have a press conference with the man behind the curtain, right? You know how much you've got budgeted, and you're hitting people up saying, "Hey, you want so and so? Here's what it's going to cost,"
Right.
But now it's above board, right? It's not
Right.
like it was with Eric Dickerson. It's not like it was with Craig James. It's not like it was with. I'm not saying money exchange hands with Dan Marino. I'm saying I've heard things from people who were coaching in those days. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
apparently he was so in love with his hometown team, nobody could pry him away. But and once again, Howard Schnellenberger was a hell of a coach. But I hear
Yeah.
things about how Miami got to be Miami. I'm just saying.
Right. Right.
Not accusing, just saying that I've heard stuff. Now it's all there, right? It's accounted for. You literally have books, right? So I'm excited now to see what the next great innovation is, right? And I still believe it'll be probably in like both physical and then production performance, right? People who okay, this guy isn't as strong or as fast, but why is he better, right? That's, I think, it's the next big like jump, and they'll get probably some neuroscientists involved as well. Okay, this guy isn't as big or as fast. Why is he better, right? Oh,
Right.
it turns out that the way he's wired mentally allows him to perform better when things are going bad, as opposed to this big, strong person who's bigger, stronger, faster. But their brain is wired in such a way that when things go bad, they go bad. They're like, oh no, right? I mean, that I think I'm excited about what is next. Now,
Yeah.
if Oklahoma finds a way to not win this game, because once again, everyone knows this or has heard this, more games are lost than won, blah blah blah. Is there something about Oklahoma that you think could be their quote unquote fatal flaw, Nolen?
Well, and we were discussing this a little bit ago, right now, and talking about we were talking about Torrey Blaylock and how good he is. The fact that there's not a real running back oriented rush game established yet. John Mateer leading the team each and every week in rushing is a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
That when we really thought there was the last drive against Michigan when Oklahoma needed to run some timeout, and it was like an old school Bill Bednaw like drive, 12, 13, 14 plays,
Yep.
driving, clock down, just running the ball. And I thought, okay, here it is, it's back. And then the next week it wasn't there against Auburn, and I really didn't feel that it was there against Kent State. It just wasn't what I thought it should be. And so I don't know that you can win in this conference with your quarterback leading, unless it's Cam Newton, unless it's Tim Tebow. unless it's that type of player.
Right, 240 pounders, what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. It's just going to be hard, and not just that, but when they are leading your team in rushing, it's they're getting 30 or 35 yards. It's not even in a dominant run game from your quarterback. It's just doing enough to get by. And right now, so far it's been doing enough to get by. I just know that won't last. That won't last from beginning to the end.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I don't love when I see certain quarterbacks. I mean, Drew Aller's a bigger guy than John Mateer, but Penn State shouldn't be led in rushing by Drew Aller ever. Like these things, one, aren't sustainable. And I mean, I hate to bring this back up, but what's the point of scheduling Kent State if not to work on stuff that you aren't good at? I mean, what is it you're doing? Why are you bothering with scheduling Kent State if not to? I would literally just do the things I'm bad at. I mean, that's all I would do against Kent State.
The whole game, Oklahoma's just getting getting on the ball like 30, 40-yard drives, right? I mean, they're smothering Kent State offense. They're punting the ball. And I was just like I'm like, let's get an 80-yard drive. Like, make us take the ball on the 20 and drive the ball down the field and get some reps instead of, 4 plays for 30 yards and scoring. I don't know that there was a drive in that game for Oklahoma that was over 70 yards. It was all short. It was all short field, and so that's what I just kept thinking. God, let their punter kick something 60 yards. Let something happen that Oklahoma has to drive the field and make plays, and it didn't happen.
My final question is, how do you think the rest of the season plays out? I mean, could Oklahoma conceivably run the table? You sound doubtful. Maybe it's just your natural cynical tone, but you don't sound like you're fully sold on this team as a team that's going to go undefeated through the regular season.
When Oklahoma beat Auburn, had 10 sacks, and I was real excited till Texas A&M got 8 sacks the next week. Right? I mean, it turned out it wasn't that great of the achievement that I thought it was. The Michigan win is still big no matter what. They're probably not as good as what I thought they were. But, after this game, we've got South Carolina coming, which that's absolutely, or we go to South Carolina. And so to me, that's an absolute winnable game. That game was just a disaster from the start last year. I give no regards to how that game started. We gave them 21 points in the first 5 minutes. And so you're not going to win those games. Ole Miss at home the next week. That's going to be tough. I wouldn't call it. I mean, Ole Miss is rated ahead of us. So I wouldn't say that's an upset. I will be surprised to get a win against Ole Miss. Go to Tennessee the week after that. And then, by the way, we go to Alabama the week after that.
Nice little stretch.
Right.
That's where you should have put Kent State.
Exactly. Like Kent State was in the wrong place in the schedule. But go to Tennessee, go to Alabama, and then we've got Missouri. We've got Missouri at home, and then go to LSU. 5 games left. If not considering the Texas game, there's 6 games after Texas, and if Oklahoma goes 3-3 in those games, I'll call that good.
Okay, you have shockingly realistic expectations for Oklahoma football. You are not like most of the people I talk to around the program.
No, listen, they hate me because I just refuse to look, the real, because I watch a lot of college football just like you. Yeah. And when you watch it, you see what people are good at and you see what we're not good at. And like when I look at going to Tennessee, 100,000 people there, that offense is going to slip through and make plays no matter how good your defense is. That Tennessee offense is going to make some plays. the Ole Miss offense is going to make some plays. I was against Oklahoma rushing the field against Alabama last year, and seeing how Tyler Simpson looks now, I feel like Oklahoma's going to regret rushing the field. For
you think they might have some memories of that game going into taking the field?
Yeah, I was sitting in that stadium going, "Why are we doing this? Like we have to play them again."
Yes, yes,
you
you do.
know?
Yes.
So realistically, out of this, not even taking in consideration tomorrow, 3-3 is acceptable to me.
Okay.
4-2 is winning.
Okay.
That last 6.
I will check to see if our local Tennessee supporter has any parting shots regarding either that or any other games.
I mean, I'm just happy that game's going to be played in Tennessee this go around. I mean, it was a tough fought matchup last week, and we're the reason they benched Jackson Arnold. So, I mean, that was a good.
Yes, yes, appreciate that a lot too.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, obviously, that game's going to probably be flexed if they, depending on how these next couple of weeks go for both teams, that could be game of the week, game day / night time in Neyland, which would be a huge game for both teams, but an amazing atmosphere that should lean Tennessee's way. But who knows? You know, if Mateer is fully healthy at that time, it's going to be, which he should be by that point, unless he, they rush him back for this week and then he gets re-injured. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
That should be a very interesting game because I feel like we have a very bad defense. Like I was very bullish on the Tennessee's defense coming into this year, and I am back on full choo-choo train. Fire Tim Banks because he had one good year. Wow. Yeah, I'm over Tim Banks. Tim Banks he's given up 28 points every week. That's not a successful recipe of winning. I mean, he gave up 28 points to UAB. Like that's not something you can't go into SEC play giving up 20 something points. You're not going to win every game when you're giving up that much points on defense.
Yeah.
You just can't. So when we start playing some more powerful offenses with some elite defenses, I don't know. It's going to be, if we finish with 8-9 wins, I think it'll be a miracle unless this defense. So hopefully we're starting to get healthy. So hopefully maybe by that time, Jerron McCoy is healthy and playing. Maybe Ricky Gibson's back. I mean, that would be a huge difference, but at least we got Devin Hobbs back on that defensive line this week.
Yeah.
I'd say today Tennessee be a 4-point favorite, at least.
Oh wow!
In that game, I would. That's where I would put it right now.
I would think it right now it'd be somewhere around there because we're both. I mean, you're undefeated. I mean, I think it'll be different. It'll be depending on how these next couple weeks go for y'all as well.
Yeah.
I mean, with it being a home game, I would imagine because Texas is actually favored to win this weekend.
Yeah, which
is not ranked. You know, it's a point and a half.
Hilarious to me. It's just hilarious to me. I
think that just proves that the Archie Manning name. I still think everybody in media and everywhere else thinks Manning. You hear the Manning name. Oh well, thinking he's still going to be Eli or Peyton or his granddaddy.
He might one day even be better, but he isn't now. Like,
no,
that's. I mean,
I think that's the one you buy that money line all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what it'll be?
Oklahoma now.
Literally just turned 20. I don't know. Whatever. I'm a person that takes the long view of these kinds of things. Some people brag that they can watch 6 minutes of film and they know what a player is. That's not me. I'm not a guy who's going to decide what I think a player is after a handful of games. Plus, as Nolen pointed out, that offensive line, and he's right. I went back and watched the L22 there. It's not just a talent thing. Like, they don't look well coached.
No.
I see people blowing assignments. I see bad footwork. I see people doing skip pulls when they should be doing full pulls and vice versa.
Yep.
Like, wait, do you not know which pull technique you're supposed to be using here? Oh, you do not. Oh, because at first you say, well, maybe it's like you see it once. It's like, well, maybe nope. That's not once. I go next game. Oh, you did it. Oh, I don't think you know the difference. Oh, We may have a problem here. So I'm not ready to judge what any quarterback is a handful of starts into their career with a poor offensive line.
No, but, and while you were gone, we talked about how Arch doesn't have the weapons Quinn had during his time and tenure. And I mean, he doesn't have the offensive line, he doesn't have the weapons. So everybody at Matt, like, you could be a 5-star, but if you don't have the weapons around you and the offensive line around you or the running attack, he has nothing that this Texas team has had in the previous 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And Arch just judged off high school tape. It's more like a 3.5, like a high 3, low 4. The name, this is where you're right about the name. The name pushed him to 5, right? He wouldn't have been a 5-star if his name wasn't Manning. He would have been in that high 3, low 4 range.
I think that whole I think all those quarterbacks have been all horrible. I mean, I'm not Archie's not lived up to it. Nico hasn't lived up to it, but I forget the other. If you look at that 5-star class, none of them, they've all jumped and they're nowhere. I think Arch is the only one who stayed at his local school. All the
original location, yes. So
shout
out to him for that. He's the only non-transfer.
I think that's the only
5-star group. Yeah, you're right.
I think that's the only reason people expected more from him because he got to learn from a very true wily vet in college football and Quinn Ewers. He has a good coach. He saw how it should be done for 2 years. He got some playing time, looked good. So everybody went into the season, including me, thinking, "Oh, Arch is legit." He got to play some. Yeah, it was garbage time, or it was against powder puff teams, and he had the weapons, but he looked it. You're like, why is he not starting every week over Quinn? Because he's looked better.
Oh yeah,
they had a little bit of a quarterback controversy late that year,
and then we now know why.
And once again, like I said, we'll see. A year from now, if we're having the same discussion, I'll have concerns about it. But that year hasn't happened yet. Before we let Nolen go, and Nolen, you've been incredibly gracious with your time. You also, I know, look forward. Right, you look at the way the program is now, and you're looking forward. When we do come back again next year, and you're with us to talk about this game, this game's next version, what will be the biggest difference between that 2026 version of Oklahoma football and this year's version of Oklahoma football? What will be the biggest difference?
I think the biggest difference is going to be a settled offensive line. Michael Fasusi is going to be an NFL pro. Like health, if he stays healthy, Bill, if you get a chance, watch his work. For some reason, but like this year, there are 5 offensive linemen on the injury list that probably are not going to play. Oklahoma just knocked down 2 5-stars in state, a tackle and a guard. There's a couple of guys that are on the team but are still young. They're fighting for their spots. I feel like there's opportunity for the Oklahoma offensive line to get back to that 16, 17
breaking
year range.
News. John Mayfield is probable to be playing.
Yeah.
3 minutes ago.
Yeah. I still wonder. Well, whatever. We'll see. I mean, maybe he's a fast healer.
And I guess I'm trying to think of the NFL player that had the same surgery.
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love, right? Jordan Love had the same surgery, came back. And again, just the fact John Mateer played 3.5 quarters with that hand in that condition before the surgery. I feel like he's going to be difficult to keep out.
The difference, I think, between the two, though, is Jordan wasn't on his throwing hand.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. And I was all over Mateer in that Auburn game, how he was throwing the football. And then, the next day when they're like, yeah, he broke his thumb in the first quarter. It's like on his throwing hand.
Right.
Like, well, never mind. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, no, he's clearly insanely tough because it was killing him, and you could tell it was killing him. But he refused to.
The problem is too, though, when you're that tough, you got to realize at the point: are you helping the team or hurting the team while playing injured?
Well,
I mean, they won, but I'm just.
Well, that's why you have trainers and coaches, because you can't leave it
They
up to the
won by
player.
cheating,
The player
too.
will always. You don't want a player who doesn't want to play. I guess the guy who's your starting quarterback is the guy that's going to go out there, even if he's got a bone sticking out, right? I mean, you can't leave it up to him. It's got to be somebody else who shuts him down.
I mean, again, going back to the terrible comparison, but Baker Mayfield to Cleveland,
the shoulder.
on going out week in and week out. The shoulder was bad.
Yep.
Media turned on him. The fans turned on him. And it was like, if he would just took some time.
They should have IR'd him. He should have never played while doing that. They should have just sat there.
This is why you have.
That's why the Browns are the Browns, though. Like,
listen, the Browns are the Browns on and off the field. I'll just say that.
There's good franchises and bad franchises until the Haslam's, right? Haslam is the one who owns
Jimmy.
That's right.
Yes. Shout out to Flying Jays everywhere.
Until all the Ohio pro teams lose their ownership, you're just in trouble.
So, as for those scoring at home, since the franchise was revived, they're now on their 41st starting quarterback. If you're scoring at home,
and they'll have 3 this season.
That long.
Because Dylan's going to get benched for Shador here sooner than later.
Oh, Lord. Poor Dylan Gabriel.
The team was revived in 99, and they are now on starting quarterback. I mean, I'm remembering like the halcyon days of Seneca Wallace. Remember Seneca Wallace was their starter?
You remember Seneca Wallace
Anderson year, that magical Derek Anderson year, right? Oh, yeah. They've had some dudes back there. They've had some
Yeah, it was Derek Anderson.
Brandon Weed. Wherefore art thou, Brandon Weed? So,
Mr. 74% completion rating, Brandon Weeden, or whatever it was out of college.
First of all, Nolan, thank you so much. Now, I know that you don't do this anymore, though I've been trying to sort of slowly suck you back into it. I would love if at some point you wanted to maybe do a little writing again, but we'll talk about that some other time. Nolan's fantastic. He's really good at this. But you've got a life. I get it, right? You do other things. But
it happens.
If you get the itch, you know where to find us.
Hey, well, listen, while I'm looking at your face, congratulations to you on all your personal stuff and
thanks, sir.
All the wins and
thank you.
Nothing but blessings and prosperity for you and yours in the future.
Very much, my friend.
I am excited for you and what your future holds.
Well, I'm excited for both of us. I think things have turned, in a good direction for us both. We both have gone through some stuff, and now, now things I think are starting to, straighten out.
Yep.
So it is a pleasure, and I've known you now for my God, it's over 20 years. My daughter was a baby when we first started talking, and she's a college student.
My daughter turned 21 in May, and you and I were both at CDS together when that beautiful baby girl just arrived. So that's a long time.
It is crazy when you think about it. Right. We became fathers around the same time within a few months. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, shout out to your wonderful kids who I see are doing quite well. So Nolan, normally this is the place where you like shamelessly promote what you're up to. Do you do other stuff football wise?
Not right now. I'm not. That's something now that my son has graduated high school. I'm no longer coaching AAU basketball, not coaching baseball. I'm not coaching football. I've kind of taken a step back from those things, now that I can take it, I'm not coaching my child in something. And so the opportunity is there for me to free myself up more and be more involved and do more things. And so that's one of the benefits of this stage of life is I've done my duty. I've done, I have raised the childrens. And so now I can go back to doing the things that I want to do.
Living. You go back to living your life. Your life.
Yeah, for sure.
Not living someone else's. Or being an appendage in someone else's life.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, we will talk more, my friend. I'm so glad we have you at least once a year, every year as this game approaches. But I am plotting and planning to try to slowly but surely bring you into more football and football related activities.
Well, hopefully you'll have the need to call me in before the SEC championship game.
Okay. Yes. There we go. I may call you either way, but yes.
Either way.
I mean, obviously, if Oklahoma continues to win, I will definitely call you. But either way, we will definitely talk again.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you, sir.
Right, thank
Matt
both of you.
and I will speed run through the other games at record breaking, crazy fast. So we talked briefly about some other big-ish Big Ten games. Obviously, I was only half joking about Penn State being in danger. If Northwestern gets a couple of turnovers and scores, which is the question about Northwestern all the time, is can they score? They're pretty good on defense. Not great on third down defense. Like weirdly, they're 113th.
Oh wow!
In third down defense at 46% conversion rate, but they're really good in all the other, or average to good in all the other defensive metrics. They're pretty good against the run. They're decent enough against the pass. They're very good at not allowing a lot of scoring. Like they're, classic sort of bend but don't break. I think they allowed 19.5. No, they only scored 19.5 points per game. But they allow like 22 point something points per game. So they're pretty good on defense in terms of not allowing scoring. But if Penn State gets rolling, it could get ugly. The question is, will Penn State get rolling? And that's the legitimate question.
Can Drew Aller ever even show the resemblance of what he's supposed to be? Which I never think he really ever shown that. But
well, I mean, it's yes and no with Aller, right? If you go back and once again watch the tape, as we love to say, you see him mostly making the right decision. He could he have another interception or two if defensive backs had better hands, maybe, right? But that's true of every quarterback. But he's mostly made the right decisions. He's running more. We talked about this. He's running. He had 78 yards rushing in the last game, I think, which is too many. Was it 78? Yeah, it was 78. He had almost exactly half of the team's rushing in the last game.
Yeah,
and that's once again not sustainable.
Not when you have the running backs that you have in Penn State either. You have two guys who are going to get drafted, and your quarterback's leading. Not a good day in the office.
So this week, if I'm making the list, the laundry list of things we want to get better at Penn State, we want to stopping the run, probably trying to the top of the list. Then number 2 is running the ball, right? We want to stop the run. I mean, it is like Bo Schembechler and Woody Hayes are like somewhere wherever they are applauding. Yeah. Run the ball, stop the run. That's how you win football games. But weirdly, that is. Like if Penn State does those two things, they could conceivably win out if they can do those two things. But that's a big old if. To me, even more surprising than their paltry running stats from a UCLA defense that was not good at stopping the run before that, at least, wasn't good. Because they gave 199 yards they gave up to Northwestern, right? They gave up more rushing yards to Northwestern than they did to Penn State. Boy, would you have won a nice little bar bet if you made a bet on that. Because who's gonna have the better rushing game against the common opponent? I don't think too many people would have. I don't think even the most excited Northwestern fan would have probably shied away from making that bet. But yeah, they outrushed Penn State against the common opponent. I'm not going to go all the way out and call for the upset, but I think this game is going to be uglier and closer than people think.
I think Penn State cares.
I think they win, but I think they may even pull away a little bit towards the end. But I won't be shocked if this game is like stuck in the mud for a while. Northwestern's
it's a 21.5 point spread, and I'm slamming the spread. I think Penn State easily. I think if James Franklin, this Penn State team, does not do what they need to do this week, it's all alarms. Everything is blaring in the Happy Valley. James Franklin might be fired mid-season bad if they lose to Northwestern, or even if it's a stuck in the mud game against Northwestern. You were number 2 at the beginning of the season. You're now unranked. You lost to a team who hasn't led all season. And if you go and perform like that again against another bottom-dwelling Power 4 team, all systems go, all alarms go.
Okay, let's slow down on calling them bottom dwelling. You're right. They're not a great program, but they're 3-2.
We're talking about P4 schools there, Bill.
I know what you're saying.
They are bottom dwellers.
I think that's a slight exaggeration. Well, here's what I was saying.
Purdue, Northwestern,
they're better than
Vanderbilt.
Purdue. Okay, stop that. They're better than Purdue.
You know overall though, when you talk about the Power 4 conferences, you don't you say Northwestern as one of the top schools that you say, yep, they're trash.
I think trash is an exaggeration. I think this is going to be a competitive game. I may have to go against you on. I think Penn State wins, but I don't think they cover the spread. Okay, we have to discuss Oregon and Indiana for two reasons. One is, I mean, if Oregon is going to have a clean run, this is one of those games you circled, right? Where once again, I wrote about this a little bit. I said I compared. Shout out to my friend Donovan James who hit me up for some quotes. I compared Indiana. Now, once again, if you're below the age of 50, you won't know what I'm talking about. But I compared them to the cast and crew of a show called Baba Black Sheep. It's from 76 to 78, starring. Sorry if you're young, but starring Robert Conrad playing Gregory Pappy Boynton, who was the top Marine Corps ace in the Pacific Theater at the time. Ended his career with 28 confirmed kills in aerial combat. But he was 31 at the time. They assumed command of the squadron, which in those days was old for a fighter pilot. Things have changed since then. And he was a sort of ragtag bunch, right? This guy from here, this guy who's been in trouble, this guy who's been there, this guy who used to be a hot shot, but then pissed off the wrong person, whatever. And he has these, hence the Black Sheep Squadron nickname. And Indiana's a bunch of guys who, they have a sprinkling of highly regarded guys, but most of them aren't. Most of them are guys who transferred up from smaller programs or were guys that came out of high school and were thought to be 1 or 2 stars and maybe with the JUCO route for a year, whatever. But these guys are sort of coalesced. And, Oregon is just a destroying, my line, the unstoppable killing machine. Like if there's a team that I truly believe will go undefeated this year, it's Oregon. But Indiana is that school that you have to be careful against. Oregon's just more talented. Like, I'm not going to pretend otherwise. There's not a position I can point to and say, oh, well, Oregon's not as – no. Oregon's better at every position.
I think this is the first true competition, true big moment under Kurt Sinetti's reign, because you're going to Oregon, you're going to Eugene at night. I don't think Kurt has seen a matchup yet like this while he has been the head coach at Indiana.
It's a big one. And – win or lose, we're going to get a real sense of how good a coach and how good a staff, how good a coach Signetti himself is, how good a staff he's assembled there in Bloomington. Staying in the conference.
I have Oregon. I don't think, it's a touchdown, 6.5 touchdown. I have Oregon.
Well, that I do see the favorite covering. I think Oregon wins by a couple scores, but I think once again it's competitive, close until they pull away. Staying in the conference, Ohio State hits the road to go to Memorial Stadium in beautiful Champaign to face the sturdy but a little speed deficient Illinois Fighting Illini. So the one thing Ohio State doesn't really worry about, for the most part, is big plays. Though Altmaier is capable of throwing the ball deep, and they do occasionally attack deep. That's not what their game is about. They are mostly ball control in the passing game and just, banging the ball up there between the tackles and occasionally, outside. But they're an old-ish school Big Ten kind of program in a lot of ways. And, of course, Oregon is not. Oregon is not. It's a West Coast team in the Big Ten. A lot of California kids on that roster, some Texas kids, some kids from everywhere, Florida kids, some kids from the state of Oregon and the state of Washington, and the islands, right? Pago and Samoa and American Samoa and Hawaii and
What game are we talking? You just switched to talking about Oregon when we were talking about Ohio State, Illinois.
Sorry. Yes. Back to Ohio State. So these two schools have a few things in common. Two things very, very different. Team speed is the biggest difference, right? Sorry, I don't know why. There's the O in Ohio State and O in Oregon. Ohio State has the clear and obvious team speed advantage at almost any position you can name. They're just playing out faster. The quarterback is faster. Their receivers are faster. Their running backs are faster. Their offensive linemen are probably faster.
Guess what?
Their defensive linemen are definitely faster. Their running backs, linebackers fast. So they have the speed advantage. The only way I could see this being, forget an upset, but even like an upset is in denying the cover, is maybe feel the conditions change. Maybe it's windy or rainy or something that sort of mucks it up. Or, once again, turnovers. Which Saiyan is thus far, Super Saiyan, as some people call him, has thus far avoided. He's avoided making the big mistake. I think that this is a cover for them.
Upset of the week. Illinois wins.
Oh God, I love you. I don't think you're right, but that would make me so happy.
They don't. Ohio State has not really played any competition. They really truly haven't. Illinois has had a couple of really tough wins. They have proven that they can play against the top teams. They have a tough defense that really has not been seen. Saiyan has not seen yet. And this is in Illinois. If this was in Ohio, I would give it to Ohio State. But because this is going on the road to Illinois, and I truly think that this Illinois has a good defense. I think, Brett Bielema is bringing back what he had at Wisconsin. I do think this is upset of the week. It's 14.5-point favorites for Ohio State. I don't see that, and I truly think this is the upset of the week. I think Illinois wins and beats Ohio State this weekend.
Well, that would make me incredibly excited. I don't see it that way, but I love that you do.
I think this is the weekend Saiyan gets a little. I'm not saying Saiyans bad. I'm just saying this is the weekend where Saiyan comes down to earth a little bit. He hasn't been great either. That's my point. He hasn't.
No, he hasn't been great. I mean, he's not a guy who's going to.
He's been a game manager.
Right. I was going to say, great. Like he's a really athletic version of all those Alabama quarterbacks who went on to not be quarterbacks. I mean, not for long after they got out of there. John Parker Wilson, I think, actually had a modeling contract for a while with American Eagle, if memory serves correctly. Yeah. We all know where
AJ McCarron.
Right. AJ McCarron actually did have a nice little run as a mostly backup in the NFL, played also, I think, in the UFL or the AAC.
Yes. He wanted to play with his big thing is he wanted his kids to see him on TV or playing or something like that. So he was like UFL or something. It was like MVP.
Yeah, he hung around for over a decade. So yeah. I mean, that's admirable. If you can play football for over a decade at the professional level, hats off to you, because I couldn't even crack the safety rotation at Norfolk State. So shout out to anybody who managed to actually play. I'm interested in obviously in that game. Another game that I think is very interesting in what might happen. So I want to see it as a trap game. I think Florida State sees Pitt coming. I just think that some of the things that Pitt's good at are some of the things where Florida State struggles. And obviously, you don't get to have a Jared Verse every year. You don't get to that doesn't happen. You don't get to have, a Braden Fisk. They have good players on the defensive line, but nobody who is that kind of disruptive. And obviously, Pitt's trying to deal with their quarterback situation, but I'll be interested to see how that game plays out.
Here's another upset of the week for me. South Carolina beating LSU.
Oh, well, look at you. You are so much bolder than I am. I think that game is very close. We do both strongly dislike the coach.
I mean, obviously the hatred for Brian Kelly is there.
We are sharp members of the Brian Kelly Haters Club. We are both so polarized and obvious haters of Brian Kelly.
But I still truly like everything South Carolina has. They have dealt with some stuff, but I do think they're a very talented team. Yes, they're not ranked, but I don't think this is a hot take because they are ranked. They could be a ranked team. They have.
Well, if you're right, if they win this game, they'll be a ranked team again.
Exactly. They have an elite quarterback. They have an elite weapon. They have a good defense. this is not like a 10-point favorite for LSU. I understand it's a
No,
night
I
game.
don't. I agree. I don't see them covering 10 points. I don't see that.
It's a night game in Baton Rouge, but
this feels like a field goal with the clock running out. If they win, I think
how bad Garrett Nussmeier in that offense has been. This is going to be a slug out. This could be a 17-14 victory. This could be a very ugly game because of the offense.
I agree. This will be I think it'll be like I said, field goal. Literally, I could see a late game field goal. Arkansas, Tennessee. I assume I know where you land on that game.
We're an 11.5-point favorites. What do you think? We lost to them last year, obviously.
Right.
And they beat us. That was the on the road game. We shouldn't have lost. We lost it. Sam Pittman is now fired. Now we have to bring back good old Bobby Petrino.
Yes.
You got the running
case
back.
Of emergency, break glass.
We got the running back for Arkansas talking shit on the defense. The defense has seen it, talking trash. It's gonna be. I'm glad this is at home. I think we win. It's 11.5. We should win by that, but it's gonna probably be another ugly fight. I hope we can just cruise through this game and not have to worry about it. But
okay, a couple of games I want to sort of throw in there real quick. Another A&M, which thus far is undefeated, faces a desperate Florida team. If A&M is for real, they should cruise to victory. If they struggle, it'll start to make people wonder just how good they really are. But A&M has thus far made me a believer to this point.
Yeah, and I thought we talked about Mississippi State. They gave them a run for their money last week until just the injuries and the talent and everything piled up. I don't see. I know Florida's a little bit better, but I do think Elko has his Texas A&M team in the right route, and I do see this should be an easy win.
Yep. Georgia Auburn. I think it's a get right-ish game for Georgia. I think they cover. I don't think it's a ugly game, but I think that they are clearly the better team.
Yeah, agreed.
Alabama, Missouri.
That's a good game.
This one feels a little trappish to me. Not trappish. I mean, Missouri's good, but I won't be shocked if Alabama doesn't look great. They might win, but I won't be surprised they don't look great doing it. Right?
Alabama has been better than they were since they lost against Florida State. But the one thing they still have not been able to stop is the run.
Correct.
And Missouri's running back is a Heisman contender.
They have a receiver I really like too. We're going to find out a lot about Alabama's defense in that game.
Yeah, I think. Because their running back is averaging 170 yards a game.
Yep.
At 7.1 yards a carry.
Right.
So
and I like that Coleman kid also, the receiver. I like him a lot too. This
should be a fun matchup. I'm excited for this game. This is the game I'll probably watch at night because this could be upset territory. I do think Alabama wins, but I think Missouri can be knocking.
I agree. Do you have any last things you want to throw in there before we close this episode out?
No, I think that quick rundown. I think we covered all the games I had on mine. Just want to make sure I'm not missing any of the other ones that we didn't talk about. I don't think. Yeah, we got them all. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure run down that list.
No
really
problem. I want to thank for their patience and understanding our audience, and also our friend the hater, Chris Disney. And I'm telling you, man, nobody. You can. There's bigger names to talk about Oklahoma football, but nobody is better at Oklahoma football than my friend Nolen J. Lake. And I am slowly but surely working on him, trying to pull it in. But once again, everybody, thank you so much. And we'll do this again next week.